Hi, it's Tony. You're in Pop Pop's workshop. This week was fun for two reasons. One, we're making a project for a friend. That's always a good time in the shop. We get to make something for one of my friends. I really enjoy that. And two, we get to try a new tool. We were using the Kreg Mortise Mate. It's a loose tenon joinery machine to make this connection, edge grain to end grain. Sometimes that can be a difficult connection. So we're going to see how the loose tenon machine, the Mortise Mate, did in making that connection, and what my thoughts are on how easy is it to use. Can I get tight joinery? How long does it take to get it just right and set up? So we'll have that in the video as well. So follow along and see for yourself the fun we had making this project and what we think of the Mortise Mate. Are here today. I have a special project for a friend. He wanted something in the shape of the letter I. Well, I have three pieces of some ash lumber that came from him that I will now I've got them cut, but I've got to connect them. And so you could glue them, but it's cross-grain situation. I could pocket hole them. I've got Kreg pocket hole stuff, but I also have temporarily borrowed from work. Thank you. The Kreg Mortise Mate. So we're going to do some loose tenons on this, which is going to be the perfect thing. But to begin with, I had to get it set up just right. So took a tenon, marked it halfway down the middle, halfway in there, made some adjustments. We'll talk about that in just a second. I'll bring you in so you can see how I made those adjustments. Tested on some plywood, and now I know I am ready to go for making my pieces and connecting them. I'll be able to glue them up. It'll be a nice strong joint, and we'll get a great product out of that. So hang around. We'll come in. We'll take a look at the adjustments you need to make to get this just right, and how you can even make it a little loose if you need that in your furniture build. So hang with me, and we'll get to the video. Okay, how do we adjust to get just the right setting? As this will go in here just nice and easy. Goes in there. A little bit of glue, that's going to be a perfect joint. So how do I do that? Well, to get my setting just right, I measured halfway across the width, halfway across the length, so I knew this was going to go deep enough when I put it in the joint. But this is important. I want this on my piece, I want this snug. You can make it a little looser, but how do I get that? Well, first off, it's kind of nice. They've got four pre-drilled holes in this Baltic birch face, so you can fasten it down so you don't have to worry about clamping it. You could do that, clamp it on a bigger board, whatever you need to. But on the front, we have our center line. That's going to tell us right where this line should be lined up. Clamp it down. That's where we're cutting center, theoretically. This adjustment handle down here matches numbers on the faceplate for 1/2 inch, 3/4, all the way up. So you set this to the depth of your material. Now we have to achieve centered cut. To do that, we have a little set screw here and a little set screw here. This one loosens, and you probably see it on this side better. So you loosen this set screw, and then the other one can adjust this little knob, this little faceplate, in or out. It is what hits, when I bring this across, it hits and sends the rack and pinion forward, and the same on the other side. So they basically set your width of cut. So I adjusted that, fiddled with it a little bit, got it right, turned the set screw so it doesn't move. 3 millimeter Allen wrench is what you use. Then when it's set, all I got to do is push my drill in and keep pushing forward as I go side to side. It'll click, it'll go in and go in. When you get to the point where these two arms here meet your chuck, your depth is done. Then to reset, there's a button on top, you push it, and it goes out. So see if I can put some pressure on here to kind of get an idea. So it just goes in and back and forth as those buttons hit, back and forth, back and forth. When I get where I want to go and I need to reset, push the button, I reset. Very simple. The most you're going to do is the initial setup. Now I am set to do 6 millimeter loose tenons, which I got from Kreg. Easy. If I get 8 millimeter tenons, I would simply adjust for that. Whatever I'm doing, I just have an adjustment. I could keep a piece that I've used to set with, and that can become how I reset everything. But it's a simple thing of loosening a couple of set screws and adjusting this in and out. It took me maybe 5 minutes. It's not super complicated, but when it's done, I can put 6mm tenons in all day long and get a nice snug fit. Or I could back off both sides a quarter turn on the set screws, and now I've got a loose setting. Either way I want to go, it's ready to do it. All right, now we've got our loose tenons cut. It's time for the glue up. So pretty simple. I've got my loose tenons. I've got my Bossdog glue. We'll just put a little bit of glue down in there. We'll take our little spatula end. Get some more glue in there. We'll get this going. And the nice thing is these have flutes straight up and down all the way. So as I put this in, the glue has a place to just travel right up out of the way. And you can see this, it just travels right along those flutes. So I really like that about these loose tenons. They really have a good technique there for getting those right where they got to be. A little bit of glue in there. And we're just spreading it around. Line up our lines. Put a little bit of glue on here. Go, a little bit of squeeze out, rinse and repeat. Again, just beautiful way it follows those little grooves right out. Ooh, almost forgot to put a little glue on my tenon. And I've got to say, I'm kind of a fan of the Bossdog Wood glue. It really works well. All right, now slap a couple squeeze clamps on there. And done. Next up, sanding. Okay, so now we're at the sanding stage. This is a little thicker, this piece is, and I don't want to thin it all the way down, so I didn't plane it. I want to kind of taper the edge in, so we're going to use our belt disc sander to do just that. So we're going to get to sanding on this project. Okay, so we're done sanding that. It blended nicely. It's still got kind of an organic shape to it, a little thicker in the middle. And we've done some sanding on the edges. Now we're going to move on to some tedious hand sanding. I won't put you through that, but I did have my little belt disc sander hooked up to my dust extractor, my Hercules dust extractor. Thanks again, Chris. It's working great in the shop. So that was nice. I could just turn on the machine, know the dust extractor was going to kick in, turn it off. If you don't have a dust extractor, it's probably a great purchase for your shop. It's really good for small shops, so you can upgrade to a larger collection system. Even then, small tools like this, better on the dust extractor. So that's where we're at now. I'm going to go on to the tedious hand sanding, and we'll come back after that. All right, so we've got sanding up to 120 grit. We're only going to go to 120 because we're going to use some walrus oil furniture polish on this, so furniture oil. So I've water popped it. We've been using these SpeTool sanding net disc. These things are amazing, whether I do it on my sanding mouse or on my random orbit sander. Really, really can't say enough good things about them. So I'll put a link in for those two at the end at sanding. And of course, a lot of sanding. Don't do it without my RZ mask. There'll be a link for that as well. It's super, super handy if you need a mask in the shop. Highly recommend. So when we come back, we'll do the final sanding, maybe a little touch up in some of the holes, some CA glue, sand that off, and we'll be ready to put finish on. All right, so we're working on filling a few of these things in here. A couple of times filling them up should be enough to take care of these little holes. That one's good. And little activator. And we will get those taken care of, start the final sanding. All right, here we go. The walrus oil furniture finish. It's Danish oil. One of my favorite things about this is the hands-on, just a little oil on there. We're gloved up. We're going to just rub it in. Get that all soaking in there. And then it'll be time to let it set before we slap on a sawtooth hanger so it can be hung on the wall. So that's looking forward to that. One of the final things we get done. Next up, you'll see me putting the sawtooth hanger on it, and then we'll sum up our conclusions on this project. All right, well, everybody that does a YouTube video has the same problem. I was saying that centering this up was kind of tough because everything's irregular, so I kind of eyeballed it. And then, of course, once that was done, I took my center hole punch, after I'd marked the holes there, center hole punched that, took a tiny 16th inch drill bit, get that pre-started, pre-drilled rather. And then, here's a handy tip, use a dark black background when you've got these gold or brass colored screws, because they disappear on your workbench if your workbench is like mine. And then another tip, always hand drive these things, because they will absolutely, the heads will break off, they'll strip out in a heartbeat. So you can get them on there most of the way. And then I get my next one set up. Get that fastened down. And there we go. So we're on to final thoughts. All right, we're all done. What do we have? Obviously, it's in the shape of an eye. We're going to hang it on our wall. We have a walleye. My buddy's an avid fisherman. He saw somebody else had one of these like this years ago. He's always kind of wanted one. The ash came from a tree in his yard, and it's going on his wall. So hopefully he'll enjoy his walleye. As for me, I really enjoyed the project. I got a chance to try Kreg Mortise Mate, loose tenon joinery. I see why people will enjoy it. It's a really solid joint, edge grain to end grain. That connection, I have no doubt, will last for years to come without any problem. Even if this were a piece of furniture you were using daily, I would do it that way without hesitation. What else? Well, the opportunity to use the furniture oil, the Danish oil from walrus oil. This stuff feels great. I love that. The sanding discs are a must in my estimation. I'm going to put links in the description of all the different products we use. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching us go through our funny little video making this walleye. We certainly enjoyed it. Hopefully you feel like stopping by again, but we appreciate the fact you stopped by now to watch this video. Thanks again, and remember, you can do this.